no contact, low contact, toxic, gaslighting, emotional availability, trauma response. Wouldn't you love to know what these things mean? Well, we are going to start a series on defining what these words mean. Hi, my name is Annie, and welcome to Grand Alienation. We provide resources for alienated grandparents so you can mend bridges and start becoming a family again. So we are starting. This is the first in a series. We're going to do a word of the day. I'm going to do some shorts too, because sometimes we just need a little quick blast of what it means. But the long form videos are going to be talking about, like, going a little bit deeper into what these things mean. So I'm going to go over what all of these things mean, like boundaries. Today's word is boundaries. And what do they mean by boundaries? In an adult world, a boundary is like a wall. It's like a fence. It's like a property line. That's what a boundary is. Well, that's not what the kids are talking about. So we are going to, in our series, we're going to talk about the word and what the kids mean by it and what the parents' understanding of it is, and a way that we can build a bridge so that when you understand the other language, it's like speaking a second language. When you understand the other language, you can automatically translate in your head when these things come up. Okay, so the first word that we're talking about today is called boundaries. And what do the kids mean by boundaries? Boundaries are the personal limits that I set to protect my emotional, mental, and physical well-being. They're about what I need to feel safe and protected in our relationship. It's not about punishing you. It's about taking care of myself so I can show up as my best self for you, mom and dad. So when you think about it in that context, that is a very admirable thing. If they want to tell you what they are willing and not willing to put up with from you. When I say I need to call, when I say I need you to call before coming over, or I can't discuss my weight, I'm telling you what I need to maintain a healthy relationship with you. So in other words, the kids are saying, if these are some topics that we need to avoid in order to have a good, healthy relationship, mom, dad, can you please not go there? That's all I'm asking. That's what a boundary is. Okay. So, and how, now listen, adult children, this is what your parents understand and why they're so upset and so hurt by your boundaries. It's not that they're offended that you have boundaries. It's because this is their understanding of it. All right. So boundaries feel like our kids are putting up walls and making rules we have to follow when we're the parents. How dare you set rules when we're the parents? Okay. Just hang in there. We never set boundaries with our parents. We just dealt with them as they were. And we did. We put up with a lot of BS. We had to keep our mouth shut because that's what you do when you respect your elders. Respecting your elders means you just take it and you just have to deal with it. But it feels disrespectful, like we're being treated as dangerous or harmful, when all we want to do is love them. All we want to do is love and protect our children from when you were babies. We understand, and we have to understand, that you are now adults. You're not a baby anymore, but that doesn't take away our love for you. We will always love you. You are a part of us. So when they ask the question, like, when did we become the villain? When did we become people that you need protection from? Because when they hear boundaries, they think that they need to be protected from you, when in fact, from what I understand, that's not what you mean. A boundary is what you're willing to accept as far as behavior from your parents. So that's what a boundary is. So now let's talk about building the bridge and finding common ground. Both generations actually have boundaries. Okay, so we just call them different things. And again, it's a generation gap. Parents, you already have boundaries. So you wouldn't let somebody walk into your house uninvited, right? That is a boundary. You don't share personal information with everybody. There's some things that you just don't talk about with certain people. That is a boundary with you. You have topics you won't discuss at work. That is what they're calling a boundary. So if you're beginning to understand what they mean by boundaries, you actually do have boundaries. You've ended friendships that have become too demanding. So you have set a boundary with a particular person in your life, and you're like, oh, bro, I cannot take this guy anymore. I'm just gonna not talk to him anymore. So you've set a boundary because you are not willing to take whatever it is that they're dishing out. Okay, so you already have boundaries if you understand it in that context now. So you call them common sense or manners, and that's what we call them. The kids don't have any manners, right? Knowing your place. Your kids are using therapy language to communicate the same concept. So they're talking about the same things that we are talking about. Adult children, this is for you. Your parents grew up where family boundaries weren't discussed. That families were supposed to be your safe place by default. And that's why we just accept it, because this is something that we don't talk about. And please understand that that is in the past. That's not where we still want to live, because as a Generation X person, I am willing to change and accept new ideas, because we are not boomers who are set in their ways and they will not change. That is not us. We are Generation X, and we are open and amenable. They're hearing you're harmful when you mean this specific behavior doesn't work for me. So when you say, adult children, when you say your behavior is harmful, and parents now, what they're saying is that this behavior, what you're doing, it just doesn't work for me. I don't like it. Could you please stop? Our parents didn't have boundaries. We had zero boundaries for our parents, so we don't understand it. Reframing boundaries as relationship agreements. Now, wouldn't that be nice? Let's have a relationship agreement. Mom, I love spending time with you. Can we agree with what works for both of us? Not, I'm setting a boundary. How about you try? This works better for me. Does that work for you? I don't want to talk about my weight, Mom. Can we not talk about that? Sure, daughter. Let's not talk about that. Parents, translate your existing boundaries. You hate when people drop by unannounced. That's the same boundary your kid wants. You don't like unsolicited advice about your marriage. Think about that for a minute. If you didn't like your mother-in-law telling you what to do in your marriage, why is it that you get to do that to your daughter-in-law or to your daughter? Okay, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. So think about that. You want respect? So do they. They're just defining it differently. Again, we're speaking two different languages. So if you understand how to speak the other language, if you understand what they're saying with the words that they're using, then I think that we can come to an understanding. So use bridge language instead. Instead of, you violated my boundary, try, this doesn't work for me. Can we find what works for both of us? Instead of saying, you're too sensitive, moms and dads, instead of saying you're too sensitive, how about saying, help me understand why this is important to you. I really want to understand so that I can respect you in that manner. So the bottom line is, boundaries are not walls. They're the property lines that let neighbors live peacefully side by side. Think about it that way. Good fences make good neighbors. I love that. Imagine if you didn't have any fences between all your neighbors and their dogs and their kids just running your yard and like willy-nilly. So you set up fences and set up boundaries so that everybody can live peacefully and safely in their own space. So action steps for both sides. So for the kids, explain your boundaries as needs and preferences instead of rules and ultimatums. Those sound really hard. And for parents, remember that respecting boundaries shows love, not distance. Okay, so here's the assignment for both of you. Start small. Pick one easy boundary to practice with before you start tackling the bigger ones. The bottom line, mom and dad, when your kid says, I need boundaries, it's not them saying they don't love you. It's them saying, this is how I can love and respect you and have a mutually beneficial relationship. And for the kids, when your parent is struggling with boundaries, it's not them disrespecting you. It's them grieving a closeness they thought they had with you and don't know how to rebuild. So let's meet in the middle. Boundaries are the instruction manual for how we can love each other better. That's all I had to share for today. My name is Annie, and this is Grand Alienation. I'll see you guys on the next one.